Okay, folks, hey, pals and palettes, it's your buddy Mike Messier. We're here for a late night Mike's Instant Movie Review. Actually, it's not even that late. The movie that I saw tonight must have been an hour and 40 minutes long. The movie started at 8:15 was the start time. These theaters, AMC theaters, has about 20 minutes on the dot of previews and advertisements and so forth before your main event movie starts. And the movie got out promptly at 10:14, so that's actually less than 2 hours from bell to bell, which, may not seem very long, but these days I'm usually in the theater for 2.5 or 3 hours, sometimes even more for just one movie. These movies are so long now. I discussed the editing on the Tar movie. I thought they could have trimmed an hour off of Tar. Look for my Tar reaction video if you're that intrigued about my thoughts on that one. Skinamarink is a horror film. And for those of you that are new here, I've gotten a bunch of new subscribers. Thanks for jumping on the fun train. My feeling is I always say, should you see this movie or not? And I find myself saying this about almost every horror movie I see. If you like horror, you'll probably like this one. If you don't like horror, stay away. Now, this one is kind of different though. I think some real horror fans, so spoilers, I'm about to go into this thing, Skinamarink, and you might be thinking, who's the star? I don't fucking know. Because the movie is made in a very sparse way, art house cinema. The sound design is great. That's the best thing about this movie. And, it's kind of weird if you're coming out of a movie and talking about the sound design, to be honest with you. And also, it's very unique, okay? And it's, the most thing I can relate it to is Blair Witch Project, which came out, I think over 25 years ago. I actually have met Ed Sanchez, one of the co-creators of that film. He's a really nice guy. But to be honest, and I'd say this to Ed too, I actually liked Blair Witch 2 more than Blair Witch, the original, because I just felt like it was too minimalist for my taste. Maybe if I had seen Blair Witch without reading anything about it or knowing a little bit about it, I would have been more scared. But that's going back to that fucking movie. This movie, I really didn't know much about it going in. I went in kind of a cold plate, just knew it was horror, kind of liked the title, and that made me think it was going to be like some type of, 70s parody horror thing, kind of like Pearl, with the beautiful Mia Goth, who's the new queen of horror, apparently. But this movie, I want to kind of be mean and say if you want to call it that, but there is cinematic quality to this movie, and I think this movie that I'm talking about, Skinamarink, it's going to be kind of a love it or hate it type of movie with a lot of people. I think this is a thing where maybe younger people, younger artsy-minded goth people will really like this movie because they'll feel like it's so unique and so compelling and so cutting edge. I've been around the roller coaster a few times, and some of the techniques they used in this thing I've seen done before. Not all together, but I've seen some of the creepy elements, and this movie is very good about doing creepiness and doing tension, but the missing parts for me is the payoffs. There's like one payoff in this thing, where two scary moments, two real scary moments in this movie. But I know what horror fans like. A lot of times they like blood and guts. A lot of times they like sexy women. A lot of times, that's the, not everybody who likes horror, but I think a lot of people that do like to see some pretty girls, like to see some blood, like to see some kills. This movie doesn't have much of that. I mean, it's got a story. And in fact, if anything, I don't know who made this movie. I don't know if the people that made this movie have a budget or they made this on a low budget. If it was a low budget filmmaker or filmmakers that made this movie, Skinamarink, I would be interested in seeing what they could do with more money. If that's the case, great. But if this was a movie made by a production studio or there was some money behind this thing, I think it's lacking. And I know that sounds weird, to judge a movie by how much money was put into it or how much was available. But I'm just telling you, like, you know, I've seen local movies made that were scarier than this. I've made some fucking movies that are better than this with a fraction of their fucking funds, whatever it was. So, I don't know. I guess, but you know what? On the flip side, there's a lot of fucking tension in this movie. There's a lot of, like, creepy moments where you're watching this thing and you don't want to get up and go to the bathroom because you feel like you'll miss out on something. But like I said, it's minimalist. Let me try to describe what you see in this thing when you're watching this movie. You basically feel like, you know, first they give you the thing that says 1995. So you're telling you in the 1995. Then you kind of have all these creepy angles of this darkly lit house, or the house is not even lit. It's like night cams. So you feel like you're watching this movie through the eyes of surveillance cameras. And at times, I felt like I was watching the movie through the perspective of ghosts. Like it's like a haunted house, and I'm watching the movie through the point of view of the ghosts that haunt the house. A story does eventually develop, and I believe we're mostly watching this movie from the perspective of Kevin, who's a 4-year-old boy, and apparently him and his sister, I want to say her name is Carrie, like Kayree. Apparently they've been, I'm not sure if they're ghosts, like the kids are ghosts that have been killed by their parents, or there's some type of time continuum where we're experiencing this movie both before and after the killings, because there's a lot of things where, like, you know, there'll be an image of a toilet and then the toilet disappears, or later on there's an image of blood on the ground and then the blood disappears, the blood comes back. So you're realizing that you're watching this movie in at least 2 different time perspectives. And then you're trying to figure out, well, who's the bad guy in this thing? Was it the parents? Did the father kill the family? Did the father kill the mom? There is one scene where you kind of see the back of what you assume is the mother. Now I'm looking over my shoulder thinking some creep's going to get me in this parking lot. But you wonder if the mom character, it makes you seem like, you know, the mom character, she's there. And then you're, you know, wondering, is the mom character dead? Is this a ghost of the mom character? You're kind of waiting for the mom to turn around and scare you, but she doesn't. There is one close-up of a character, which I think was supposed to be the sister, which is pretty gruesome. Or it's not gruesome. It's not gruesome. It's just freaky. It's scary. For the people who, you know, I know a lot of people like this. They don't want to go see a horror movie. They don't want to see the blood. They don't want to see the killings. But I talked to a woman last night about this. They like the psychology of the horror film, but they don't like the gruesome. There's really not a lot of gruesome stuff in this. But I still think those people that are squeamish about horror might have a problem with this movie, because it is pretty goddamn good at being, you know, psychologically fucking with you. And that's what I felt like. I felt like the movie was fucking with me, which is fine. I can be fucked with for an hour and 40 minutes. Try me, okay? I've been around the goddamn block. But at the end of the day, I need a fucking payoff. I need a fucking story. I need a fucking plot. I need a fucking climax, okay? And this movie did not provide that. This movie is like a dark poem, which is fine. I mean, look, I like the fact that there's different types of movies. Not every movie should be, you know, course versus course, to quote Kurt Cobain. You know what I mean? Like, you should have different types of movies, and this is a different type of movie. And this is kind of, you know, like I said, this is like a dark poem. Maybe I'm also a bit, to be even further into my own psyche. You know, I just finished a 16-minute short film, Disregard. It's literally got a 100% batting average as far as the festivals that we've entered that have selected it, that gave us, you know, this is only a month-old movie, but it's been selected into 2 festivals out of 2. It's won 6 awards from these 2 festivals combined. Havelock International Film Festival, thank you very much. And, you know, another great festival. So the point is, I just feel like this movie I feel like I kind of went into this territory with my own short 16-minute film, which is, you know, kind of like psychological horror that anybody could watch without blood and gore. I guess I feel, you know, to be transparent, as the kids say, that with the type of fucking money that these assholes made this minimalist movie with no goddamn actors, no fucking payoffs, I could have made a much better fucking movie. And that's just the reality. So does it light a fire under my ass? No, there's been a fire under my ass for 25 fucking years, okay? It just makes me a little goddamn depressed that these productions and these fundages go to these goddamn things, and my brilliant brain is not being fully realized by this goddamn world. That's what gets me. How's that for fucking horror? So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think this will be, I can see like some fucking college kid writing his thesis paper about Skinamarink and explaining to the world how great it is. And I can see all the girls on TikTok these days that are dancing like Wednesday Addams. They'll get all fucking finger happy about this movie. But like I said, you know, part of this movie, a big part of it is images and sounds from cartoons that are in the public archive. Okay, but that's been done before. Like using old cartoon sounds in an ironic and creepy manner. It's been fucking done. I've seen that. Using, like, you know, the trope of the family murder, the family death. We've seen that a million fucking times in horror films. But, you know, once again, I do think this movie has merit. I think it's the sound. Like I said, the sound design. When I was in this movie theater, I mean, I guess I was a little bit restless or bored because I started, like, remembering poetry, like dark poetry that I wrote years ago. So that's good. This triggered some memories somehow. So I'm not shitting on this movie totally. I just feel as if they kind of, it's kind of like that artsy, like I've done shit like this myself, like the artsy kid who figures out an artsy way to get out of a school project. You know what I mean? Like the kid that turns in the blank canvas for his art presentation and says it's, you know, fucking, this is how I feel. And it's just a blank canvas. You know, it's kind of like that. It's like, yes, it's good. You know, yes, it's interesting. It's unique. Do I feel like I fully got a movie's worth? I don't think I really do. I mean, when the movie ended kind of abruptly, I was basically feeling, I'd like to get my money back. But I mean, I paid for this movie with the subscription service to the theater, which I enjoy. And that's kind of what these AMC subscription services and other theaters, Regal cinemas that have these subscription services, that's the great thing about it. If you see a movie like this or something else where you feel like you kind of got gypped or it wasn't your favorite movie, you can kind of just shrug it off to, hey, it was part of the subscription. I didn't pay $18 for a ticket or 12 or whatever the fuck it is. You know, it's just part of the deal. So not every movie is going to be a winner. Like I said, I would be very interested. I'm not sure even who made this movie, but whoever it did, I would like to see what they make next. You know, I'll say that. It's got me intrigued. If they were to make another movie, I would probably go see it. So they got me there. I just hope that the next time they do make a movie, whoever the hell it is, and maybe it's Blumhouse is behind this, who the fuck knows? I don't think so. But whoever's behind this, the next movie they make, I do hope that they fully develop some of these concepts and ideas and things into actual actors, okay? Actual dialogue, scenes, instead of this minimalist, you know, kabuki-esque approach to filmmaking. Let me see a real film. So that's my review. As you can see, I'm kind of upset. You know, it's fine. I mean, you know, a movie should provoke a reaction. It provoked me. I've been provoked. You know, I feel a tinge. I think this is one thing. As a filmmaker, you don't necessarily, I mean, I guess, I don't know, they did achieve one thing where I'm willing to go see another movie that these people make, even if it's kind of like a follow-up to this one, like a deeper dive into what the fucking story is with Kevin and Kaylee and these parents and this fucking weird house. So, I mean, they do have me on that regard, but I do feel like some people, not me perhaps, some people are not gonna like analyze this thing very much. They're just gonna say that was stupid. You know what I mean? Like some people will, but like I said, there's some college kid that's gonna write a term paper about it, and there's some people that are gonna just shrug and say, "What the fuck was that?" and leave. And there's some people like myself that are trying to figure out what the fuck I just saw. And like I said, giving credit to these people, they did something unique, they did something different. I'll keep saying the sound design, I think that was the best part of it, but the visuals were cool too. And if they did make this thing on a shoestring budget, I give them a toast to the cup to making something unique with little money. So I do give them credit. But I just wish that they had a bigger payoff. And at some point, if this movie is getting distributed, which it is, to theaters across the country, then there's some money in there somewhere, basically to have like at least a better ending. But I don't think that didn't happen for me. So that's it, folks. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Thanks for kicking in or checking in. Did a bunch of videos for you today. A new Mandela effect video. The topic of the Jerry Lovett character from Castaway. No, that's not the Tom Hanks character. Watch my Jerry Lovett, Tom Hanks, Castaway video for that video, the Mandela effect. I did a what's in the bag that was very exciting earlier. We saw Raven in the bag amongst others. And I talked about the Super Bowl, the Royal Rumble, and so forth. And that's about it. So if you have any questions, comments, queries, leave them in the comments. And you can watch Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary, Blood Sugar Sedace. All the wonderful things that I do for you people, absolutely free of charge. From my blessed heart to yours, Mike Messier. Talk to you later. Have a good night.